So I've mixed my mortar, got it in a bucket, and I'm ready to go. This here is a sink, and this section here is obviously a drain that comes out through the wall. But here, I can get my arm in it, so it's quite a recess. So the first job I'm going to do is to fill up this hole. And I've got a multitude of rocks here that I've found digging up the front at an earlier stage. So I'm going to try and push these in with the lime mortar so we don't use as much lime mortar. And I'm going to leave it a little bit behind so then that'll set and carbonise. Carbonation is the word we're looking for. And as I said before, it's a nice snowball effect, not too dry, not too wet, so it's a good consistency. So I've got a little pointer, screwdriver for pushing it in, little things to put my mix on, and if needs be I'm going to have to shove it in with my fingers, so I've got my gloves on. Now obviously I don't want to have too much moisture collecting in here, so I'm going to have to try and pack it in as best as I can. So yep, going to have to be fingers, I think. Fingers and stones. So it's hard to tell. I mean, this is a bit loose here, so let's have a see if, so you don't want to pull them all out and it completely collapse. But hey ho. So I'll try and keep some kind of order. There you go. You can probably see a little bit better now. So I'm going to shove some stones in here with the mix. And hopefully this will add some support for this. Not that it probably needs it, it's probably well stuck in there. When you originally build these, you probably find a lot of stones are in the ground. So if you're ever short, I mean, I've got tons of stones here, there and everywhere. So I'm not going to run short, I don't think, of them. What you're trying to do here, get it into all these little nooks and crannies. And obviously you can see where it was made of mud before. And I've hosed it down a few times to try and get rid of all this wood, but we've got my sprayer as well, keep it moist, so we'll give it a little bit more. Now I can get in a bit better. Get rid of all this loose stuff. And that'll control our drying out, and because obviously I live here, I can keep it pretty moist. So let's push it all in there. I mean, these holes, you'd be surprised, you get 5 ton of sand and you've got all your lime and you mix your mixer, you'd be surprised how quickly it disappears. And you think, oh, it's not going to be too bad, that. I should be able to fill lots up with that. And then it just disappears completely. So I need to keep this back from the front, but as you can see there, I can keep pushing it into the hole, compact it, which is what we need to be doing. And it's coming out here. Oh, funny. It'll stiffen up that over the next few days. Let's put a bit more in there. Flat stone. So hopefully this will stop the damp a bit in my house, allow the place to breathe. That looks like a good one. So basically you're just looking for the right random stones to be able to put in with it all. But if you, I don't know if you can even see that. Oh, I've got a great big hole. and I can't even get it in properly, so I'll have to put it on my trowel and then slide it in. Because what we don't want is all these bits of cavities in it. We'd rather it be a solid wall. And just keep filling it and putting the other rocks in with it that will possibly fit. I mean, if they don't fit, just keep trying until you find some that fit. Or get smaller ones. And push them all in with the mortar. So hopefully you're creating like your own little joints, because you don't want to be filling it all with just pure lime mortar. You want to be having a bit of a good mix to create some longevity. There we go. That's in there. So I don't know if you can actually see what I'm doing, but it gives you a bit of an idea, hopefully, of what's involved. And obviously, I'm going to try and work my way to the front. I'm going to take some of this. See, there's a small little stone. I'll shove that in further at the back. Another one there. Let's push that into the back. And it's filling up slowly here. Probably going to use all this bucket here. And obviously I've got that bit to do as well. And he goes back about 150 mil. I forgot this. So I've got some more stones here. These are a bit more flat. I can shove them in, hopefully. That's a good one, a thin one. I mean, even if you do end up with a few little cavities, it can't be any worse than what it was when I started, that's for sure. And hopefully stops the drafts getting through as well, one way or another. Make my house warmer, hopefully, in the winter. I mean, there's a few bits of old terracotta here as well, possibly even floor tiles on the floor. So, just add them all in. It's not going to do any harm, is it? I don't think. So I could do with some small ones there. See, even these little ones, I don't know if you can see them. Just shove them all in. Just makes like a concrete, really. Like I said, whatever the size of your aggregate is, say it's 6 mil, you don't want to be, if that's the biggest in your aggregate, 6 mil, your mortar joint doesn't want to be more than, say, 18 mil. Or if your aggregate is 6 mil, now it's just getting that joint so it's in ratio to your aggregate. Anyways, I think you're kind of getting the gist there. Let's see if we can get any more in. Kind of. Right, some of this mortar's dropping on here, so let's throw it in. So let's have a look. So that one might actually be better there than where it was before. So, like I say, I've got lots of stones, so I'm sure I can. So I'll keep that back a little bit from the face. And let's see if that'll sit now comfortably. There we go. And just push it in, give it a compacting, bit of firmness. And that's a little bit too far back. So I can use my little pointing trowel. Shove a little bit more in. Oh, I dropped it. And don't worry if you drop it, because hopefully you can catch the majority of it on your board and then reuse it. But yeah, that looks a lot better. And you'll get used to using these tools as you go along, for sure. Technically speaking, you should do the verticals first and then do your horizontals when you're actually doing your you know, you're up to your pointing section. So that's that one. Now that's going to need a piece in there, which I do have something. Yeah, that's going to go in there. So we'll fill this back bit up. I actually like an older trowel. If you look at this one, it's a bit curved on the edges. I prefer that. So let's move the vertical board. So if you think you're struggling, always stick that underneath. That hopefully will help you to not lose as much. I mean, what I'm doing here now, because my bucket's right next to me, I'm taking the mortar straight out of the bucket, but you can put it onto your shovel. So let's just build that up a little bit. Now let's see if I can shove place. Alright, that's that in there. Let's see if we can put some in the back now. So it's still a bit loose and a bit wobbly. And this bit here, I'll fill that when I'm actually when I come to pointing fully. So hold the front of the stone, compact it all in, and then we can use some other stones that we've got and pack them in to make it more substantial. I've got some bigger ones here now for the back. Let's see if it'll go in first. Yeah, that'll go in. Let's wrap a little bit around it. So sometimes I do this like, and it kind of compacts the mortar like that. And sometimes if it's a very narrow gap like that, you can push it in. More so on the when you're patching like this now, I can force it down the sides, and because I'm compacting it, it'll make it stronger, the mix. So I find that a good idea, because you don't want to end up with like little gaps of air pockets. You know, you want to fill them all in. So if you can see that process there is compacting it into the gap. So that's quite good way of doing it. And you can hear by the sound it makes that it's compacting, which is you know, another good thing. Right, we need something in that little pocket, and if I put my glove there, that hopefully will stop any bits falling out. Let's have a oh, no, is that a stone? I don't think it is a stone. Oh yeah, that's a stone. So again, I can stick that in there, keep my joints a bit tighter. I'll put my hand there. Again, point up best I can. And that one's probably going to sit a little bit further back, but when we come to point the whole lot, we can have nice small joints. We can have a little bit of a bigger one. Like this one's pretty sturdy at the moment, but it's further back, so I'll probably cover that one up completely when I get round to that one. Let's see if we've got any more little stones. See, they're everywhere, literally everywhere. So I've got myself a little bit of a bigger collection of stones. Let's put them on here so I can see them, see what's going to fit where. So, does that one fit there? Yeah, see, that one might be a good one for us. So I'll put a bit of mortar in there, and I'll see if I can sit that one into the wall. Like I say, you can compact it in with your fingers if you've got your gloves on. Works well for me. Now that might be enough now for this baby. So we can have a look at this stone. I think that might have been the front originally, but that one looks actually a nicer edge. So I think, well, does it fit? No, it doesn't, but it will fit there. But I think we're going to need to pack the back out a little bit more. So fill that up a bit and get those fingers in there, shove it all into the back. And I've got like a little crevice, little cave to the side, so that's going to have to be a shove it in with my hands kind of thing. So don't be afraid of getting your hands in there. I know it's not too bad here because it's falling on here and I can re-salvage it. Well, let's have a see what we've got rock size. That might be a good one. And just try and shove it as much as you can in there. Like I said, it's not going to do any harm. You just use more lime, mortar. But long term, people don't realise, you know, when you've got a builder and you're paying him by the hour, is he filling these holes? Is he just doing the front? If you do it yourself, you know you've done a good job or a bad job. You know if you could be bothered to fill all these nooks and crannies in. And if you're doing it for yourself, you really want to, because it's going to add strength to your walls and your building. It's going to allow it to breathe, and you're not going to have pockets of air in your wall, which you really don't want that. So, sort of pack this up wherever I can get my fingers in, fill all the little gaps. I'm sure you don't like the sight of my head, really. Maybe I could, let me see if I can move the camera around a little bit for you so you can get a little bit of a better perspective of what I'm doing. The gloves are all gooey now. Full of lime. Yeah. 2 washes off. There we go. I don't know if that's going to give you a better insight, but this big rock here, I've got like a little cavity at the back of it, and that's what I'm trying to fill at the minute with my fingers. And I've probably got quite a few of these little bits to do across the front of the house, the farmhouse. But just take your time. It's all about conscientious work, really, and what you're doing. But you do need to make sure, as best you can, that you're compacting your lime mortar in these holes. That might go in there. Yeah, see, that was a good angle on it. There you go. That's probably a better position for it. I mean, sometimes if you think you've got a stone in and you're struggling to pack it in, you can always pull it out, shove a different one in. So, a few more bits of rock, shove them in. Another one there. It's like being on the beach as a kid digging holes. Don't know if that's going to go in there. Definitely go in there. So sometimes, like bricklaying as well, I don't know if you can see me, you can put your lime mortar on the top and then try and shove it in. See if you lose any like that. I've lost some of it. Some of it I've lost. It's fell into the hole further away. Oh, it's not. It's in. I'm using my hand like a trowel, because obviously I can't get a trowel in there at all, can I? But it's a big hole, probably 14 inches. What's that? 350mm in depth. So it just shows you the thickness of the walls. But let's get in there. Another rock here. I think that one might go in here. In fact, I'm going to pack that up even more with the last bit of mortar I've got in the bucket. See if there's any smaller stones. There we go. A few more stones for in the back there. So what I'm doing now, the last bit, I'm shoving it all in with those little stones, the big stones, all of it, compressing it, packing it in, push with the fingers, all down the little nooks, the little crannies. I mean, that's used a whole bucket and all them stones. So I'm pulling some of that loose stuff off. In fact, let's push it to this side. Compact it in there. And then I can sit that big one in there next. But hopefully that's going to give you an idea, and you work your way to the front and then just push it back a little bit at the front for your final pointing when you come across the whole wall, doing the whole lot. But that's my job for the next day or so, filling all these big gaps up, making it so as it's watertight and ready for the whole pointing of it. Carry on.